Hi guys, I wanted to point out some bad workmanship on some jackets. This one is lined. Normally with something like this you would go in through the lining on the sleeve, but because there was so much that needed to be done, I've unpicked it down the bottom so that I can access it a lot more easily. Then I'll close that up and I'll close up the sleeve. But you can see here, like, nothing's been ironed flat. In some places they've clipped it really close to the seam. In other places they haven't undone the previous seam. Some places they've left the seam there, and others they've cut it away. So it's a pretty horrible job. This one, it's not lined, and that means that the workmanship is obviously easy to be seen. They've taken in under the arm, and you can see there, it hasn't been overlocked or anything, and then they've just cut it. It's horrible. The client paid professional prices to get this done by a clothing alteration shop, so that's a bit scary. They've shortened the sleeve, and you can see there they've zigzagged it. If you're going to run a clothing alteration shop, you really have to have an overlocker. You need to be able to finish it professionally if you're going to charge professional prices. So you can see there that I've overlocked the excess off, trying to tidy it up a little bit, but also the shoulder was not sitting properly, so you can see there I've raised it onto the shoulder. Those loose threads is the gathering thread that I use to ease the sleeve head back on. And now what I'll do is, now that I'm happy with the way it's finished, I'll overlock that excess off, and then it'll sit nicely on the person. My client had told me the reason they took the jacket there in the first place was that it wasn't sitting properly on the shoulder. So now I've actually fixed that and overlocked it so it will sit that way. Whereas that what their method of fixing that was to take it in under the arm, thinking that somehow that would raise it onto the shoulder more. And now you can see that I fixed all the little problems that were there. In particular, obviously, it's been pressed and it's sitting properly. When you've got that many panels, and if you don't cut away the fabric properly, or you don't press it, it's just not going to sit properly on the person. So all of those little things have been fixed, and then I'll put the whole thing together. So the reason that I showed you this was because I just wanted to point out that if you're going to do clothes alterations as a profession, a lot of people think just because they can sew that they can do clothes alterations. Well, I actually think that dressmaking is probably a lot easier than doing clothes alterations. And the reason for that is that, you'll find that a lot of people say, I don't want to touch clothes alterations. It's not hard though. It's really not. There are just some very basic, simple things that you need to do to ensure that you give a professional job. And the bottom line is that I remember I used to say to girls in the shop who worked for me, because I've had 6 clothing alteration shops and I've trained a lot of people, and what I used to say to them was, once you've been here for a year or two and you understand garment construction, you'll be able to make anything because you understand garment construction. And the bottom line with clothes alterations is that you work backwards. So you're going to pin it on the person and you're going to get the right fit, and then you're going to use my taking in technique to ensure that where you've pinned it is how you're going to take it in, and then you're going to unpick it. So you're going to be working backwards from how the garment was constructed. You're going to go backwards, you're going to take it in, then you're going to unpick any existing seams, and then cut away any excess if you need to, and then you're going to put the whole thing back together again. So it's actually not hard. It's truly not, but you have to follow a method, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say here, is that I have a taking in technique and a taking up technique. Yes, you do require certain machines like an overlocker and a sewing machine, but that's all you need to get started. If you've got those two things, then you could get started on a little business. And if you've got my book, Clothing Alteration Secrets Revealed, with those two techniques in it, then that's going to give you the skills that you need to know how to take in garments. And if you want to take it that one step further, then if you look at my online tutorial, which I call Magic Circle, might change that name soon, but anyway, my online tutorial, where there are more videos in there that are more complicated, you know what I mean? It's like if you wanted to learn how to take up a men's jacket with a mitre, for example, well, those kind of videos are in there. How to replace an invisible zipper, how to replace a jean zip, how to take in the sway back on jeans, or take in the centre back of jeans, or all the more complicated things. And it's only $144.95 a year. That's all it is. I mean, it's not expensive. If you're going to start a little business, then where can you find something that, at the moment there's in excess of 170 videos in there, where can you find something like that to help you start up a little business? And you can work from home. I work from home. I love it. It's great. I stop for lunch. My fridge is right there. These are the things that you can do. So anyway, I'm probably prattling on a bit, but I'll leave it with you. You can see how not to take in a jacket. And yeah, hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Happy altering.